Hey y'all, African American History 101, week 3, day 2. Here we go. Woo. Social media has been giving me the business, but it's okay because I'm resilient and I'm still here. Before I get started, I want to ask you if you could please subscribe. If you're on TikTok, if you could please follow. Likes are always good. That's how you pay me for this information. I have a book in my bio. If you want to buy that, that's cool. If you don't, that's cool too. Let's get to it. This information. Today we're going to talk about, we started out Monday talking about cultural context of fear. We're going to continue to talk about the cultural context of fear, and we're going to talk about microaggressions. Before I get into talking about microaggressions, I want y'all to know this is not always going to be so heavy, but we got to get the ugly part out before we get to the good part. So just bear with me. And, some people think, that's hurtful. It's the hurtful stuff you really need to talk about because that's the part that's hurting you. Some people want to know, what are microaggressions? Well, microaggressions are those little slick things that people say to you. And it doesn't really matter if those are the things that family members are saying to you, or if it's the things that they saying to you at work. And it really doesn't have a racial bias. Again, I'm going to talk about myself because, I can talk about me and, ain't nobody got to deal with that but me. I have a certain walk. God gave me this walk. And ever since I was 12 years old, I wanted to sit down because every time I walk, people would ride on me. And it started with my family, and with microaggressions, it don't matter if you're doing it intentionally or if you're doing it on purpose. It's that feeling that it gives a person that makes them feel small, that makes it relevant. And so my family would say that I walked, private parts first. I'm going to keep it clean on this here social media. And men would harass me about my walk. And I didn't know that it was a walk of authority that God gave to me intentionally. And so every place I went growing up, my relatives would make fun of my walk, and I let it get into my head where I kind of made me feel small. And I literally wanted to sit my little butt down. I didn't want to stand up for nothing. I started working, and at work, I remember one supervisor. Oh, Lord, that's we're going to take 2 weeks on that supervisor one day. Whew. That now I thought she was cursing me. She blessed me. But anyway, let's go back to this walk. One day I'm just in the office, minding my own business, and I'm walking, and it's summer, and I have on a cute little summer outfit that was professional, appropriate for work, some cute shoes, and I'm walking. And she said, "Don't let them make you work it too hard now." And I said, "What she say to me?" She said, "Don't let them work you too hard now." And I kind of laughed her off until one of the older women pointed out to me that she had just called me a whore because of my walk. And I went home and I had to do a self-analysis. Because I initially went back in my office and I started crying because this walk all my life. And y'all know we ain't got no control over how we're made to walk in this world. And the young lady came in my office. Well, she was an older woman, but I call all the ladies young lady. She came into my office and she was like, honey, you have a walk of power and authority and it offends some. Don't you ever again make yourself feel small so somebody else can feel big. Don't you allow them to do that. I went home. I did a self-analysis. I had to figure out where that came from. As I was doing the self-analysis, I forgave my relatives because they ain't know no better. They didn't know. Even if they were doing it intentionally, they didn't know how it would scar me. And then I had to forgive myself. And from that moment on, I learned to embrace my strut, embrace my walk. And as I grew in my career, people would still try to get me. Look how she walking. She thinks she all that. And what I've learned is, anytime somebody tells you, you think you all that, they know you all that. And those are the small things they try to do in their jealousy, in their envy, in their self-hate, to make you feel small, to make you feel uncomfortable in the skin that you're in. And it is not until you understand where it comes from that you can take the actions to do something about it. Another microaggression. My hair. Woo, yeah, this hair done got me in some trouble. Raise your hand, look in the mirror. Woo! Hair done got you in trouble. As a person who is black, unapologetically, I love me, and I just happen to came out that way. If I had came out any other race, I'd have to love me in that race, but I just happen to come out black, and I love me some me. This hair right here, used to wear it in an afro. I didn't even know I was being offensive to the people. I was just wearing my hair in an afro. I was working a job, and a woman who was supervising me told me, you think you need to calm your hair down? How does one calm down their hair? And so I started putting it in braids because I was like, maybe I got my fist up or something, because it's just hair, and it was well groomed, I don't go outside looking any kind of way. And my hair was speaking louder than they desired it to, because black hair speaks even when you're not talking. When I got locks, do you think your locks are professional? What? Another microaggression. Do you think your ponytail is professional? Just asking questions. I actually had a relative who was in a situation in the military where they told her that she would have to cut her hair because, no, they told her to take her braids out. She has locks too. And she was like, these are not braids, it's a lock. It's connected to my hair. It grows out that way. No, those are extensions. How you gonna tell me what's in my head? And so she had to take legal action against them for them to stop harassing her about her hair. And it's bad because it's made to make you feel bad about yourself. And it's the reason why a lot of women over the years from early times would start to press their hair to make it straighter. in an effort to fit in until you realize that as individual people, we were never made to fit in. Yes, we are communal people and we thrive in community, but we thrive in community because of the differences that bring a different little sprinkle to the community. If everybody was the same, it would be so boring. You need various plethora of personality, plethora of talent, plethora of different shades to look at, different hairstyles. Not making people feel bad about who they are, how they were born, or what shade they are, how their hair grows. All of the microaggressions, you sound ghetto. Or within our families, you sound white. Who knew that ghetto and white had an actual sound? To make you feel indifferent, to promote self-hate. I'm only pointing out the microaggressions because at some point we have to take a look at ourselves. And the microaggressions have to stop. But primarily, we have to stop letting the microaggressions get into our minds and have us afraid to be ourselves, unapologetically, authentically ourselves. And that leads us to that almighty nasty imposter syndrome, where because people had told you they don't like the way you look, they don't like the way you talk, you're not smart enough, you think you this, you think you that, when you go into a room, you freeze. Ah! You scared. As a person with a visual impairment, I used to go in the rooms and I like to think I'm pretty intelligent. Now, y'all in the chat, y'all let me know if I'm not as intelligent as I think I am. But, hold some licenses, degrees. Not that those make you intelligent at all, but, I wrote a book, write poetry, and I still, having that visual impairment, would think that, okay, what if I'm not able to see somebody and they don't understand I have a visual impairment? Because I've been in those situations, even with the neighbors. Y'all waving. I'm like, hey, I can't see you. Now, I done told you I can't see you. Why you like, hey, and you're not introducing yourself. You just waving, not speaking. I can't understand your voice or anything, but now I'm in the room. And before I go on to a stage, before I network and work my way around the room, I'm going to come smiling. I'm going to come bubbly. I'm going to come ready to be me because that's the only person I know to be. But feeling like something is missing within me. And I feel that imposter syndrome because maybe I shouldn't have my little visually impaired behind in here. My visual impairment when I was working had always been an issue when I was working at corporations and organizations. And why can't you see that? You look like you can see. What the hell does looking like you can see look like? I guess it looked like me. Still don't make me see that screen. And People's lack of understanding, I had to learn, it's not my fault. People's lack of understanding, I had to learn, it's not my business. And after a lot of years of dealing with it, it recently hit me so hard that it stopped me in my tracks, y'all. I went to a meeting, and I'm not going to say the meeting because I love these people and they ain't know any better. And sometimes the spirits that lurk in this world just be testing you to see if you 10 toes down on what you talk about. And so I go into this meeting, and I've flown out for this meeting, paid my money, and I get into the room. And I needed some assistance. I got my little cute purple computer and got my Zoom text on, and me and my computer minding my business. And I tell somebody I need some help. And they like, dang, the letters are so big on your computer. I could see them across the street. Now, y'all, if you read my book, Sharinda, she's so sweet. That Renda from the block, she's something to reckon with. And you know, I tried to throw some dirt on her, but every so often she come back up. And she was just rising up out of that chair. And I'm like, girl, stay down there, stay down there. And so I very eloquently educated them and told them I had a visual impairment and I still need some help. And my personal laptop isn't bothering anybody. Next day, because this 3-day little event, I need some help again. A different person, y'all. Dang! The letters are so big. I don't know. And you got that Android computer over there? No, I ain't going to be able to do that. And immediately, 2 young ladies came over and they started helping me because it's going to be hard to bury Renda from the block that day. I was rising up because I started getting in my feelings. My grandma told me, put your feelings in your pocket where they do you the most good. I don't know if I was going to sit on my pocket and my feelings the next day. I'm so grateful for the angels who came and helped me. Because I had some thoughts. You know, look to the laptop. I was like, can I slap you around with it? But the thoughts came from me feeling insignificant. Feeling bad about not being able to see. Feeling bad about having to use screen magnification. Even though we weren't dropping this on the terminal, this was my personal stuff. I felt so bad. Now I'm being totally transparent now. I felt so bad that I didn't want to go back to the 3rd day of this event. And I had to talk myself into it. When I got back home, I started to question myself to the point where I'm like, you know what? I'm over it. I'm not going to any events. And it slowed me down. And I'm going to let y'all know that it had me sitting still. I tell y'all, get off the fence. I was on the fence. I'm like 10 toes down on the fence. I'm not going outside anymore. And maybe some of the things that I strive to do are not cut out for me. Because when I get in the room, though that I know that I'm smart enough, you know, I is pretty, I is smart. I know that I am worthy. And how I see is kind of like who a person sleeps with. It's the least important part about me. But people had made it feel so big. And they were just being their natural selves, whatever their natural self was, and they didn't know the detriment and the hurt that it had caused me. When people say these things, they don't even know how they're hurting you, how they're causing you to second guess yourself. I had to go back and do some self-reflection. I had to go back and start journaling. And I'm not even gonna lie, it took me a few weeks before I was able to get back to my productive self and do the things that I needed to do. I actually went again. It happened to be playing again afterwards, Life in My Eyes, which is a short film that I was in. Shouts out to Marshall Gibson and Stephen Anderson, the producer Stephen and Marshall, the director. This film won the Sergio Mims Film for Innovation in Filmmaking for Black Harvest Film Festival. And I was in this film as a person who was an advocate for people who were blind and visually impaired. And here I am with my little visually impaired self broken down, about to lay on the floor so somebody can run me over. And I had to go check myself out on the big screen again. Then I had to go grab my book again and read it. Then I had to go through my journal again and start reading the things that I had manifested and they had already come to be, because I had to remember who I was. Everybody has their moments, y'all. But you have to have the coping mechanisms. You have to have the wherewithal to maintain that regardless of what anybody else is saying, whether it's their microaggressions, whether it's racism, and whether you are the biggest enemy to yourself. In your moments of self-hatred, because of the way that you're turned your mind onto yourself and you are viewing yourself in a way that people project you to be because of their own insecurities. You have to know who you are. Even the smallest achievements of what you are capable of. Who you are in this moment and what you are capable of becoming. Whew. That is all for this week. Again, if you're in a situation, if you're at work and people are using your ideas, yet they're treating you as though you're insignificant and your role is insignificant, I want you to remember and go back and pull out the ideas that they've used, the documents that you've drafted that they're presented as their own. No matter how unworthy they try to make it seem as though you are, remember that you are the one who created the things that they are using. And ain't nobody asking you to leave your job, but stay committed to yourself. Use that job for what that job is for. And remember, because you are the creator of the things that they are using, if you are able to create things for them, Can't you create some stuff for yourself? Until one day you get to that point while you're working your 9 to 5 to get skills, to gain the self-esteem. Go home. Find your own interests. Convince yourself you are who they thought you are. You are who you know that you are. And go on a journey of rediscovery and start to do some things for yourself. Maintain the resilience at that job, because you will need it in your future. There has been nothing in my past that I thought was going to break me and tear me down that has not proved to be useful and a necessity in my present, only because I overcame it. Because the truth is, regardless of what other people think about you, regardless of what other people say about you, the truth is, how people feel about you is none of your business. The primary source of energy that influences who you are is your perspective on who you are. Even if people around you treat you like you're nothing. Go forth, love yourself. I want to give you guys a journal prompt. Journal prompt, I want you to ask yourself, who am I? What are you good at? How do you feel about yourself in this moment, regardless of what people think about you? Next time we talk, we're going to talk about self-sabotage and how that comes from fear. Talk to y'all later. As always, I love you.